All right, welcome back to The Edge. The next Google Core update is here and it's happening. So how long does SEO actually take on new pages? We'll hear from Google. And will SEO become obsolete? We'll hear from John Mueller over Google as well. And how did Mordy destroy my podcast in 2 sessions? You're listening to News from The Edge over the week of July 5th, 2021 here on Edge of the Web Radio.
From the Edge of the Web studios, here's what we're looking at this week.
This is Edge of the Web, and I'm your host, Erin Sparks, back in first chair, thankfully. Every week we bring you amazing guests to talk to and chat with about digital marketing topics. Each week we're covering the SEO and digital marketing news from around the planet, separate from our weekly interview shows, getting more news to you even more quickly. Yes, it's grammatically correct, Mordy.
It's okay. So, quick and dirty grammar tips, whatever the website is, has said that you are correct from 1970 and on.
Do I actually? You are correct. Is as much as I need to hear from that sentence.
Let's talk about the real issue here. You abandoned your podcast for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And you left me in charge.
I did. Yes.
What the hell were you thinking?
I was thinking that you knew what you were doing, but literally. You drove it right into a cliff within 30 seconds. You were, who the hell's reading this? Come on.
I'll tell you. So first, I'm really glad you're back, by the way. Thank you for coming back. Saving.
I was on the fence, man.
No, I enjoy sitting here and sniping at you from the second chair. It's a much better role for me.
I think so. I think you're well suited for that type of.
I think we have a nice little thing going on here. I really appreciate what we have here.
The sadist masochist rule. I get it. All right. Well, we do appreciate
reading from your slides. It's not my thing, man. Sorry.
Evidently not. No. You had a great time, and all joking aside, you did a great job, and we certainly appreciate George Wynn and Carolyn Lyman jumping in there and actually doing the news because you obviously couldn't. So
yeah, hey, they wrote the news.
They did.
By the way, if you were going to go away for another week, I was going to have Barry on. Too bad you came back, I guess.
Oh, wow. See what he did there? So we went dark for a week last week, right? And that would have been Barry's week.
That would have been, hey.
I should have worn that shirt down on the beach, man. Why didn't I think of that?
Oh, not the shirt. Can we leave this shirt?
What shirt are you talking?
Oh, that shirt.
And in today's news...
That shirt, that incredible shirt, I could have worn on the beach. Had some great photos done.
I'd be less embarrassed naked, by the way.
It would have been great for the audio listeners. Thank you for listening to Edge of the Web. If you don't know what's going on or what kind of car crash you're actually listening to at the time, that is the ubiquitous Mordy Oberstein, head of communications over at SEMrush. Congrats on your title. You didn't even allow me to announce it. You did that whenever I was on vacation. It was kind of like planned that way.
You really want me to sync up when I start a new job with your vacation?
If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to be involved here.
Kind of. It would have been considerate.
It would have been considerate. Right.
Wow. I'm not the center of the universe.
So kudos on the new job, man. I really
thank you.
We're certainly proud of you. I'm glad we were able to actually get you to that point. Only took 6 months on the news.
I owe you one.
So you're going to be doing a heck of a lot over there at SEMrush, and we also give kudos for what Fernando Anguilla did there for the entire time as well. So he's certainly still part. He's head of marketing strategy. Yeah, absolutely. I'm paying attention. Okay. I was going to be pissed if he actually nudged him out of the way because I really like him.
No. Oh, he's a great guy.
Yep. So great team over there. So we certainly are
really
looking forward to hearing what you got going over there because they're moving and shaking in so many ways on their platform.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm just honored to be, honestly, legit. I'm just honored to be a part of it. There's a ton going on.
There is.
More to come soon.
Very good. Yeah, we're always.
I don't know what that means. I'm just saying that. Like, that doesn't literally mean anything.
It's at your go-to point, right? So you can evade any type of
go-to line. More to come soon.
Well, stay tuned.
I've been there for a whole 2 weeks, so.
Yep. So you got to tell us the inside scoop. How many meetings have you had?
It's everybody. I don't think it's a SEMrush thing. I think it's a 21st century thing.
Yeah.
Or a 2021 thing. But no, but especially when you're onboarding, there's always a lot of meetings, which is good because you meet. I'd rather meet people than read documents.
But there's a challenge with doing virtual meetings all the time because you got no downtime. You're going from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting. There's no decompression, right?
Ironically, so check this out. So I'm in Israel. My work week is Sunday through Thursday. And the rest of the world is Monday through Friday.
Sure.
So I kind of have Sunday to do work because there's no one to meet with.
So it's a little oasis there.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
I did a whole deck on Sunday.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And you work 5 out of the 7 days.
Everybody works 5 out of 7 days, no?
No. I'm busting my hump all the time.
Oh, no. Can we just get to the news?
I was just going to try and get
on behalf of the listeners listening to this, we haven't already left. Yeah.
All right. News. Okay, we're 6 minutes in. My gosh. News from Search Engine Land from Barry Schwartz. That is Google's July 2020 first core update is rolling out now. Google said on the Search Liaison account, the July 2020 core update previously announced is now rolling out. Typically, they take 1 to 2 weeks to finish, Google added. We expected another core update to happen this month, says Barry, after Google ran the June 2021 core update, and that took about 10 days to roll out, but most core updates take a full 14 days. Now, just for everybody who's playing at home, right, which everybody is nowadays, there was a June core update on the 23rd. There was a spam update. Now, it was actually a spam update, June 23rd and 28th. We also had the page experience update on June 15th, and the June core update, on June 2nd and into June 12th. So all of June was just a hot mess. There is no way that you can get a bead yet on how your website's faring from all of this with this many sequential hits. And they're not really hits. I mean, they're updating the algorithm. They're updating how they're actually indexing and presenting content. How in the world are we supposed to even guide ourselves, especially with the potential anticipation there's another core update, not only rolling out now, but probably within the next month? Mordy, tell me what's going on here.
Well, if you're an online gambling site, you're kind of screwed because you don't know which update hit you. Was it the spam update? Was it? I just took a shot at all online gambling sites, and not all of them are spammy. Some of them are legit.
Sure,
but hey, your niche has a reputation.
Now, do we know
it's a problem.
any particular industries that actually have gotten really hit?
So exclusive, because it hasn't come out yet, but I sent it over to Barry earlier, yesterday. I don't know what day it is today. So I compared using the SEMrush data set. I compared the June update to the July update because the question is that there's one after the other one. If you remember, the initial tweet that Danny put out was, there's 2 updates, there's June, there's July. The reason for that is, hey, we had some things that weren't quite ready. As opposed to delaying the update, we'll release a parse that are ready, and then we'll release another one in July. So which one was more impactful? From across the board, all of the niches that we analyzed, the July update was far less impactful than the June update. The June update would seem to be the bigger of the two. Obviously, that's top level data. So if you say, oh, well, my site, yeah, your site might be totally different.
Sure.
I'll
pause real quick for our listeners. Yeah. Top level data really means, by and large, large sites that are categorized in particular manners. And they
right. So we're looking at a huge data set. You know, we're breaking it down per industry. But let's say you take the retail industry, shopping, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Within that are many sites.
All the subsets. Right. Exactly.
Right. So your site, it's an average. This is what I love about data. The average, you might be different than the average. You might be above the average, below the average. If only baseball managers knew that point about their analytics when they manage a baseball game, baseball would be way, way better off. But that's a different rant. Glenn Gabers, by the way, just like I just can see him listening to this podcast and smiling. Anyway, the overall data set and across all of the niches, it seemed that the June update was far more impactful than the July update. Overall, there was about a 42% difference in the increases that you saw during the June update. In other words, you have your normal average fluctuations, ranks always fluctuating. Then it jumps up, those rank fluctuations jump up with an update. The increases that we saw during the June update were about 42% more, I'll call it severe, than during the July update.
Okay.
Also, and I haven't finished analyzing this, so I'll say this with a little bit of a caveat. Out of 200 domains, it didn't seem like there was an overabundance of reversals. There's your normal amount every day. Slow it down. Often there are reversals during an update. For example, the update lasts, let's say, 7 to 14 days. You initially lose a ton of rankings. 5 days in, you can see those rankings return. That's a reversal.
Right.
Some of the speculation was around, hey, well, the June update's coming out. Is July going to reverse it? It doesn't seem to be that that's the case. And I'm saying that a little bit anecdotally, so don't take me to town on that.
Problem is, they're really not going to be able to see the reversals clearly because of so many different updates. And I guess that's my larger question is, our SEOs have, by and large, over the last decade and a half, been able to, after a core update, been able to see truly what has been affected. And not that Google was actually giving that amount of space to be able to figure something out and then be able to counter in one way, shape, or form, improve content this way or this way. But we don't have a seat on the bus right now because there's so many things happening. There's not really a way to be able to understand until everything calms down of collectively how we've been affected. And
no, I'm sorry. No, please.
And then we're now looking at monthly updates to the degree that we're in the choppiest waters that I've ever seen as an SEO.
It's pretty insane. I mean, I'll discount the spam updates. There was two of those.
Sure.
I'm assuming your site's not spammy, but even with that, you have Core Web Vitals and you have the 2 updates. I actually just wrote about I just wrote a post for SEMrush about the core updates. It didn't come out yet, but in it, I go through like kind of how you might want to go through some of the data yourself to see how you were impacted or how your competitors were impacted by an update. And whereas this top level data, whether it be winners or losers or per niche data, is really good. Maybe getting an overall feel of the environment. What you should be doing is saying, okay, look, let's say I have sites in retail, I have sites in shopping, and I see the shopping is way more impacted than the retail sites as a niche. Let me jump into that first. Maybe that's a good starting point for you.
Right.
Fine. But what you really want to do is you can do many different things. You can take a look at, let's say, one of your competitors. Did they lose rankings? Did they gain rankings? But not just that.
Right.
What keywords did they, let's say they won. What keywords did they win for? What keywords did they improve their rankings for? And profile them, right? In other words, let's say your competitor does 3 different things, or they speak to 3 different topics on their website.
Yep.
Topics 1, topics 2, and topics 3. If you see that topic 3, that's where they gained all for those kind of keywords, for those topics or that topic, that's where they gained their ranking. Well, see, what do they do around that topic? Did they create a lot of content around that topic? Did they change their pages around that topic? What can I do that might maybe would be better than even what they're doing in order to get my rankings improved during the next core update, that sort of thing.
Yep.
So you really have to dive into on the keyword and per URL level of what's happening. There's no way around it.
Now, it's your responsibility as an SEO and a marketing team, a digital marketing team, to understand what's going on with your competitors out there. Not only, I should say, a paramount part of this is understanding the topography or the site structure of your competitors, and watch that with regularity because they're investing in content, and we all understand the cluster approach now of how much content are they hanging around a particular topic. It's not enough just to pay attention to your own URLs or come up with your own blog content. You got to know the context in which Google's actually looking at one competitor as opposed to your own site, right? Now, they're not pitting each other against each other. It's a matter of if you're seeing good contextual semantic content cropping up on your competitors, you've got to be able to match that in one way, shape, or form, or you're going to get lost.
Yeah, I mean, look, how is Google looking at your site versus your competitor sites? Google might say for topic A, hey, you're the site. For topic B, the competitor is the site. And if you want to rank for topic B, then you need to understand what's working, what Google is preferring about their content over your content. There's really no way to get insights that matter for your strategy other than doing that.
You better believe it. You better believe it. So there's a number of tools that we always refer to. Screaming Frog's a great tool to be able to just do a quick analysis of someone else's website and how they interlink content. A lot of really good tools out there to do that, but that is a regular investment that you have to have. Now, Barry's article also refers back to a August 2019 article when Google actually released some thoughts about how you should steer through a core update and evaluate your own content. A couple key points there. Does the content provide insightful analysis and interesting information that's beyond the obvious? Does the headline or page title provide a descriptive, helpful summary of the content? Does the headline or page title avoid being exaggerating or shocking in nature? Now, these are a few key elements here. Review what Google's telling you about the content that it's evaluating here. And if you're making a couple mistakes out there, that could very well be some of the reasons that you lose some ground on any core update, regardless of what we're experiencing right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, to me, how often does Google write something like that? Very rarely.
Absolutely.
And I even think they link to I think they link to Lily Ray, and then they link to a bunch of different SEO, which is, again, is very, very rare. And to me, you can have this debate all you want.
Yep.
It shows you where the focus is with the core updates, and it's on the content side, because that's what Google is writing about when they speak about a core update.
You are absolutely correct. All right. Our next article comes from Search Engine Journal from Matt Southern. Google chimes in on how long SEO actually takes. So Google's John Mueller, a friend of the show, answers the question, how long does SEO take for new pages? In the latest episode, Ask Googlebot on YouTube. It's a loaded question, obviously. Mueller even makes joke at the beginning of the video about refraining from his typical "it depends" response. And he actually did a really good job kind of introducing some more basic concepts of SEO and how to actually get the attention of the Googlebot. But long and short of it, it's not about a time frame. There's actually no time frame of how long it takes to get results in SEO. And SEO is literally a loaded question. It's so competitive in so many different topics that it's really, you have to understand it in those unique channels. But he does take on a key couple of things here regarding Google indexing. When a new page is published, it can take anywhere from several hours to several weeks to be indexed. He actually suspects more good content is picked up and indexed in about a week. Sometimes there's technical issues on the website that make it longer, and sometimes Google systems get busy with other things. He also recommends speeding up crawling and indexing, preventing any type of server overload on your site can actually improve indexing. If, unfortunately, your server gets bogged down by heavy traffic, Google, in turn, will actually respond with a bit of a slower crawl, kind of in respect of what's happening and what it sees happening. So, having prominent internal links on the content that you're actually getting indexed is also a very important part of the offering here. If you have a page out there that has no internal links whatsoever, yeah, you can actually request indexing from GSC, but how long is it going to actually get indexed? How long is it going to take if you're not actually introducing that content to your own users? Anyway, great article from Matt Southern. Have you, Mordy, let me ask you this. You've been in this business for a while, maybe not as long as I have, because I got a lot more gray hairs than you do.
Well, you're older than I am.
Yeah, see, well, you just don't skirt around the issue. Just go right there, okay? But yes, I am.
Actually.
I do, I do remember submitting changes and seeing shifts from Google coming 6 months after. I mean, it was like navigating a barge, man. And now we're seeing so many instantaneous responses from Google. This question is a little bit odd in its own right because we're seeing changes happen all the time. I mean, why debate about an hour or a week? We used to not see our pages show up for 6 months.
Hey, there was a recent thing, right? Where what was it in Google Search Console where you wanted to have something recrawled for an error.
Right.
They wouldn't let you submit it
That's
for
right.
a long time, and then there was a backup. So it does happen.
Yep.
I thought it was a great video by John. You could see in the beginning kind of like hemming and hawing, like, should I say it depends? But it's a good contrast to the last thing we spoke about, which is core updates are getting so, advanced with strategy and analysis and data and diving in. This is like, the foundations of search, making sure your pages are crawlable and indexable and therefore rankable. As easy. Google, I think people fail to realize this, has limited resources.
No.
Yes, crazy. And they don't want, look, if your server is giving 500 status codes, they're going to be like, we're out. We're not going to come back. Why would you? Or come back as quickly, obviously. It's the basic things that you need to be doing to make sure that your site is crawlable, indexable. Internal linking is so important. It's such low-hanging fruit.
Right.
And it's one of the better things that if you're a smaller site, it's a little bit easier. It's the number of pages you have to manage is easier. You don't have to worry about, you have 1 million pages. How are you going to create site architecture? How are you going to create internal linking? If you're managing a smaller site, that's something you can really take advantage of that a lot of bigger sites might not be doing a good job of.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I got another question for you here. This seems to be another way to look at a gentle insistence upon the user experience factors as well, is that, we just had a page user experience update of make sure that your LCP, make sure that your site is loading correctly, that you're not moving crap around your page for the user, but it is also for the bot to be able to understand and process this content correctly. Is this maybe another way of actually Google saying, hey, make this experience quicker because indexing is actually going to depend on that? Is that possibly a correlation there?
Look, with the internal linking, there's definitely, right? Can I get back to where I wanted to get to, where I started from with ease, right? That site hierarchy, that site architecture,
right?
There's definitely that, right? Servers not showing the page because it's taking too long to load. Definitely a user issue, usability issue. I can't use the site. So
it's almost like this is getting translated in a little bit, like you said. We've been so in the weeds with Core Web Vitals, trying to unpack that and really put together our own checklists for our sites and digging in, understanding what our new role of page experience is. It does need every once in a while to be addressed. This is why they're needing this. It's for indexing. It's search. Search is going to respond in this page experience way. So if you're ignoring Core Web Vitals, you're bound to lose out on ranking and indexing.
I think we talked about this on this very podcast,
Possibly.
right? There's definitely a side to Core Web Vitals that A, helps the user, but B, helps Google save a bit of resources in crawling and indexing sites.
Exactly. See, they're just trying to be
win-win.
They're just trying to be resource responsible, right? Fiduciary responsible for the resources.
Right. That's what it is.
They have Google is as big as the moon now. Come on, they've got to be able to see everything.
That's big.
That is huge. All right. Hey, we're proud to have Site Strategics as the continued title sponsor of the podcast. We're pioneers in the agile digital marketing methodology. Our core specialties are technical SEO, including Core Web Vitals, like we were talking about today, social media conversion rate optimization, and results-based marketing that actually works. So if you're interested in what we can do for you, give us a call at 877-SEO for Web, 877-736-4932. See how easy that was, Mordy? I mean, can I?
Then why I got the number right? That was the one thing I made sure to get right, so that I can say to you, "Hey, I got the number right." You always get it wrong.
But the library ran into a cliff.
Do you get your address wrong?
I do.
Imagine you. I mean,
I show up in random offices on a regular basis.
Yeah, maybe you have a problem.
Can I just sit over here? I got my laptop.
Be a doctor, maybe.
All right, fine. Hey, John Mueller, we're going to focus on him for one last round here today. Google's John Mueller doesn't see SEO becoming obsolete. And I'm actually thinking I'm going to create a drinking game. If you can actually tab the number of SEO is dead and SEO is obsolete references on Twitter. I mean, it's always coming up. Literally, isn't SEO dead by now? It's not obsolete. And John, I'm going to use him as the codifying argument. He doesn't think search engines will ever advance to a point that SEO becomes obsolete. So he actually shared his thoughts on the future of SEO and whether he actually sees it becoming obsolete one day during the Google Search Central SEO Hangout recorded on July 2nd. A question was submitted which simply asks, what's your vision of the future of SEO? This put Mueller kind of on the spot, as he admits he didn't have that perfect elevator speech for the future of SEO. He addresses a common concern shared by those within the SEO industry, which is that machine learning will get so advanced that Google will actually understand websites without any additional optimization. If Google's machine learning algorithms could understand everything about websites on their own, there'd be no use for SEO. And we'd also have Skynet. So there's that particular issue, right? I literally just watched Terminator 2 with my boy yesterday, and all I could think of was Google's AI. Google's AI. My kid really got pretty disgusted with me chiming in there. Anyway, it's a great movie, and scary as all bejesus. Anyway, he was quoted as saying, I don't know, good question. I don't have that 5-minute answer for the future of SEO. I think one of the things that people always worry about is everything around machine learning, that Google algorithms will get so far as to automatically understand every website, and SEO will be obsolete. Nobody will need to do that. I don't think that will happen. So, but without going further in, he actually did get into referencing different CMSs that are getting more advanced. The web industry adapts and evolving different issues. There's new problems to tackle all the time. But when it gets down to it, is SEO ever going to be obsolete? Mordy, your thoughts?
I'm so happy you picked this article, and when I saw it in the notes, I'm like, yes, I love this. So first off, okay, I think the disconnect for SEO will never die. There's money. Everybody be comfortable. Don't worry, it's going to be okay. I think the disconnect here is what we think of as SEO and what SEO will be might not be the same thing. I really want to write a whole article about this.
There you go.
But if you think of SEO as the technical optimization, I don't mean this technical SEO. I mean like the more technical, finer tuning of a page on whatever side of the coin you do SEO on, then yeah, that might die, for lack of a better word, right? Google will get very good at understanding content. It won't need to rely on crutches to the extent that it does, blah, 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 blah. Fine. Where I think SEO does always have a future, I think maybe this is what John meant. I can't put words into his mouth, but I'll try anyway. If you want to think of SEO as from a usability perspective, right? In other words, let's say Google can understand every single word perfectly on a piece of content. And there's two pieces of content, and Google could understand them both perfectly. It understands everything, but one presents it in a way where to the user, this is very, very assimilatable, right? It's great content, not just in terms of what it's saying, but also in how it's structured. Just for argument's sake, let's just take it from that point of view. Okay. Well, that content is better, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Even though Google can understand the words on both pages. So if you want to think of optimization from a usability point of view, that will never die, whether that be things like core web vitals, like CLS, for example, or whether it be how to best structure your page, or how to best present information, or how to present the right information to the right user at the right time. That might become SEO, or you might say SEO and content marketing and marketing in general sort of synthesize a little bit closer to where they already are. But I think the future of SEO is usability, where you're trying to make the content as user-friendly as possible, which will be the differentiating factor between how search engines rank you versus your competitors. And again, that could be the technical level things through things like core web vitals, or it could be through things like page structure, or through the targeting of the content. Google might say, well, for this keyword, we want something very, very nuanced and specific. And for this keyword, we want something that goes a little bit, more top shelf.
There you go. There you go. I'm going to throw an analogy at it. Very well said. To kind of sum up that, I think we're, as SEOs, are going to turn into data Sherpas. All right. So as we're guiding the user to certain content, that Sherpa needs to know the best way to go up that mountain and the best way of related content. And in certain aspects, you got to have a good deal more nuance and understanding. But our job is to actually unfetter access to that content with technical SEO. Right, and be able to actually help guide content and a relationship of content together, so Google can best understand what you're really saying, how you're saying, and how well you are saying it. And at that point in time, we've been able to guide Google to the mountain, and that user is going to follow that path. How about that for an analogy?
Yeah, that's great. And it's the same thing, right? It becomes whereas previously we were doing things so that Google would like the page and rank the page better.
Right.
Google's goal of serving the user with the best content and our goal of getting ranked will end up merging and aligning, where we're both going to be interested in serving the user with the best possible experience. Google will do that because it wants to get people coming back to it. Search engine will do that so we want to rank. But those two goals are going to align, as opposed to now we're sort of doing things in order to, I want to say manipulate Google. It's a really bad way of putting it, but sort of, do things to make it better for Google. We're still thinking of Google in mind, where I think we're going forward is going to become about the user more prominently. And I know this sounds cliche, but it's not.
That is absolutely how the Borg would assimilate all different organizations. You realize that. So
resistance is futile.
It is futile.
So you're calling Google the Borg.
Boy, I'm just kind of slamming
So they're
Skynet
the
Borg
that's as big as the moon.
Exactly. I've been watching way too many UFO shows here recently.
Is John Locutus?
Oh. All right, first one to the meme gets it. That would be awesome. Look, Euclidus of Borg. I mean, Patrick Stewart. We could do John Mueller with a Borg setup.
If anybody would ever play John Mueller,
he would do it.
It would be Patrick Stewart.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, that would be awesome.
Question,
sir:
who would win between the Borg and the Skynet?
I don't know. Well, I think Borg would win. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. There.
I know the answer.
Go for it.
Who cares?
I'm just asking the hard-hitting questions.
The Sith. All right, come on. All right. So that said, who's winning this week? I appreciate your input there. I truly do. Who's winning this week on this week's SEO chat, sir?
Chris Green from across the pond over in England.
Cool.
Is hosting SEO chat this Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What time is that in England, where Chris is from? I think that's 6 p.m. if I'm not mistaken.
He's part of a really cool company there. Was it IQ something or other?
I think it's a Footprint Digital. I'm saying that off the top of my head.
Got it.
He may have been somewhere before. It's hard for me. I can't remember what I ate for breakfast. But we're talking about site migrations this week. Everybody's favorite.
Absolutely.
Right after root canal. Site migration.
We had a interesting site migration. 49 days, we were able to transfer a heck of a lot of the ranking terms from one domain to another domain. It's a heck of a dance that you have to do when you're doing 3.1 redirects, as well as rewrites at the same time, and domain transfers to a non-authoritative domain. Boy, that's a kettle of fish right there.
I don't want to touch that. I
Nope.
hate that stuff.
All right, cool. So check it out Thursday at 1 p.m. on Twitter, #SEO chat. That's it for this. You got anything else? You got a Clubhouse going this week?
No. I got nothing else lined up. I put a Clubhouse on the side for a little bit while I get my new gig going on.
Got it. Well, we're certainly eager to jump back into that. The Clubhouse is always a fun thing. So congrats again on the new role, sir. Certainly looking forward to hearing what you're going to be doing. And thanks for not taking all the wheels off the cart here.
No, and thanks for coming back, because again, I really this is my home right here, sniping.
We had an alternative title for you. We're cooking up. We're going to add sniping to that as well, right?
Like SEO sniper. I like
His
that.
lower third is going to be a bloody paragraph by the time we get done with this. All right. Well, thanks for hanging on, everybody, and we do appreciate any and all reviews and commentary on the social channels. Let us know how we're doing. Let Mordy know how we did in the.
Do you really appreciate all of them, like even the bad ones?
Absolutely.
You appreciate that?
Absolutely. We get trolled every once in a while. We want to be able to improve our shtick, as it was. Right. So. Anyway, that's it for Edge this week. Be sure to check out the Garrett Sussman Show. We're talking to him about agency life and relationships with clients. So a little bit different tact, so to speak, on some of the more tactical shows as of late. So check that out. We're going to have a great time there. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get all the videos as soon as we cook them out of our toaster over here. And from all of us over at Edge, we just want to say we're sorry for Morty, but stay safe, stay well, and do not be a piece of cyber drift. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.